Lamplighting versus positive thinking. Sounds like a monster mash. Let's talk about it. This week I had the honor to be interviewed by Kelly Carlin for her podcast, her video podcast, Humans on the Verge. That interview will come out in about 3 weeks, so mid-July. And we had a great conversation. I always love talking to Kelly. We ranged far and deep. And one of the things that came up was, what is lamplighting? And I briefly mentioned positive thinking in regard to it, so I want to develop that a little bit here. But Kelly, by the way, is into all kinds of transformative activities in the world. She's an award-winning filmmaker. She wrote a deeply moving book that was an account of growing up with George Carlin, her father, the well-known comedian. She's just into such great things. She does an end-of-the-year ceremony, a workshop for people who are reviewing the year that went before and learning from it. So she's just doing great work in the world. So positive thinking, let's get into that a little bit. I think we all need to do a little bit of it at times when we're feeling low or anxious or depressed, and we just need to nudge ourselves forward. I'm thoroughly sick of the phrase, "you got this," but you get the idea. We just kind of push ourselves forward a little bit. So I don't have a problem with that kind of positive thinking, but what I notice is that a lot of us do it as a kind of uncritical habit, and it turns into denial. It turns into spiritual bypassing, to a blindness that things are going on that shouldn't be going on, that need to be addressed. And so the fact that so many of us in the States are now saying things like, "I had no idea it would get this bad," to me is a clear indicator of the dangers of positive thinking. The opposite doesn't really get us anywhere either, however, to just be cynical and say, "Well, we're screwed, that's it," because that doesn't demand anything. That's the easy position. So lamplighting is not positive thinking. It makes change through imagination, storytelling, inspiration, re-enchantment. Those are words I've been using for a while on numerous videos and in presentations. We're re-enchanting the world. We're offering people a different glimpses at possible worldviews, possible futures. That's not positive thinking, because those start where you are. Those acknowledge what's happening now. That has to be the point of departure, I think. So I wanted to give you a couple of examples, one from everyday life and one from fiction. So one of our exemplars as that we point to as this person gets lamplighting, right? Doesn't use the term. I created it so that I could understand people like this a little better. But Yo-Yo Ma visits the poorest parts of cities. He's done this dozens of times. He brings his cello. He plays a little Bach, and this is called the Bach Project, if you want to look it up. And then he and the people he brings start a conversation with the locals about the theme of home. What does it mean to be home? What does it mean to belong? And what kind of resources do you need to feel at home here? And so that's a positive use of celebrity power. He brings attention to these situations that have been badly neglected, to people who have been badly neglected. So that would be an example. There's examples from the arts, from theater. There's, I mentioned on Kelly's podcast, there's a Gaza Surf Club that a friend of mine made me aware of. There's all kinds of things happening with what's called craftivism. So knitting things is a form of activism. Tremendous creativity in all of this. People making the world better, not through direct opposition, but through strengthening the spirit and the soul. That's the very essence of lamplighting, as I understand it. So I'm going to bring back a character from fiction who I mentioned before when I did a video on leadership. He was my example of good leadership, Duke Sr. from As You Like It. And so I want to take the same scene I mentioned before, but look at it from a different angle. So Duke Sr. has been exiled from the kingdom where he should be in charge. He was exiled by schemers. He lives in the forest of Arden. He looks around himself and he sees the forest as this vast book of wisdom to learn essential lessons from. So he's out there making the best of his exile. And toward the beginning of the play, one of his retainers is complaining about the injustice of it all. And Duke Sr. replies by saying, "Sweet are the uses of adversity, which like the toad, ugly and venomous, wears yet a precious jewel in his head." Sweet are the uses of adversity. Notice the rhythm, it's iambs. This is called iambic pentameter. It's a meter that Shakespeare uses a lot in his plays and some of the sonnets. So iambs sound like the heartbeat. My gratitude to Dame Sarah, the Shakespeare coach and actor, for making me aware of that. I hadn't put that together in all the years I've been reading Shakespeare and watching his plays. It's great stuff. I recommend her, by the way. Sweet are the uses of adversity, iambs. Sounds like the heartbeat. It's a natural form of speech. But then comes the rhythm change, which like the toad, ugly and venomous. So now dactyls. And then switching back to iambs, whereas yet a precious jewel in his head. So both in terms of rhythm and content, what Duke Sr. is up to here, and of course Shakespeare, is he's acknowledging the adversity and even using a change of rhythm to emphasize how tough it is, ugly and venomous. But it's all wrapped in the heart. It's all wrapped in iambs, in iambic pentameter. So Duke Sr. is trying to convey to this retainer, who's understandably upset, yeah, you have every right to feel that way, but there's a bigger story here. There's something more comprehensive going on here. And he's right. So I like this way of holding things where the injustice and tragedy aren't pushed to one side. No one's pretending they don't exist. But at the same time, this character is saying, let's also look beyond this. What else is happening here? And in that way, starts to overcome the problem. That's what I hope Lamplighting does. Thanks.